Okay, welcome back. So, again, we're going over Brian's story of how he deals with some mental health things like panic attacks, anxiety, depression. Keep in mind that this is just his story. It is what he's gone through, how he's dealt with it. This is not giving any medical advice or anything like that. If you have any questions, feel free to mention in the comments. If you like what you hear, please subscribe. We'll be doing this up till, I guess we're at 39 now, and he's 56. So we got a few more years to go.
Depending on if we want to keep going, may just keep going and keep talking about. There's plenty of other things to go back to, and
Right.
there's more backstories and stuff like that. And again, if you're easily offended, check out. And this is not for children. There's going to be some language and situations that are not suitable for kids unless you want to watch it with them. That's your choice. Again, not giving any medical advice, not advising people to do or not do anything. This is just what I have done or continue to do. Not saying it's right, wrong, or indifferent. And,
It's what works for him.
Yeah. And again, if you're offended, I don't know.
Okay.
Don't leave it in the comments because I don't care.
Okay, so we're at 2009. You're back home.
Yeah, I think you wanted to get into why I was still with my ex.
Yeah, I think there's people that watch this are going to ask the same question. Like, your kids are grown, even though the one's still in school, they know how bad it is. Why? And I understand you said that you didn't think that, you didn't know if you'd be able to find somebody else because you've been with her for so long. But
yeah, I mean, at that point, you're talking 20 years. From 19 to 39. I didn't have any real, any other relationships. We had talked about in a previous episode of when we had dated for about 3 months. When me and her had first gotten together and were separated, not seeing each other, taking, whatever you call it, broken up at those days. But that was kind of the extent of my relationship knowledge. So pretty much everything that I knew was her. So my thought pattern, if you want to just like make it short and sweet, was who's going to put up with this? Like,
but if it was that,
what it was more like, looking back on it, it was easier to stay with, I use the term, it's the devil because I didn't want to be judged. I didn't want to be embarrassed. I didn't want to step out on that, on that limb and let's see what's going to happen.
okay, I get that, but was being in a toxic relationship better than being by yourself to see what else you could find?
At that point, yeah. And no, I'm not in any way like saying it was correct decision. I'm just saying that's the decision I made. It wasn't a conscious thing. It was just it wasn't until later, years down the road, that I looked back and went, that was stupid. This was like both of us had just, were beating a dead horse. There's no point in it anymore, but just drug it out for whatever reason. For me, again, familiarity.
I was going to say your comfort zone, that you knew that worst case scenario, you knew that no matter what, she would deal with it.
Yeah, I don't want to, I'm not going to put words in her mouth, but, I guess I felt, well, she'll be there. Like, if I skits out, I can come back, or, is somebody else, I guess, I don't know how to word this. Is somebody who's got their shit together going to be interested in somebody who's a mess, being me? Because I looked at I'm like, I'm 39, living with my mom, driving a minivan.
That would have been the stopper right there.
But yeah, I mean, that was my thing. I was like, okay, I'm not working at that time. I was not working. No, I guess I didn't really take a lot of time to like, oh, what's going on out here. It was just this this is my life.
Okay. So now we're at 2009. You're back home. You're dating your wife at the time.
Basically, yeah.
What went on from there?
Um, there ended up being in 2010. There ended up being just say a legal issue dealing with her. It had nothing to do with me. At that point, we then after that had like separated because I was impacting that had impacted like my youngest daughter. Separated for a period of time. She was away for 6 to 9 months in a couple of different locations. We ended up getting back together. I want to say the end of 2010 or beginning of 2011. Again, it was constant off and on, just still fighting. And I guess, if I had to, if I'm trying to like figure this out, I could just go home, which was now my mom's house. I didn't have to stay there and put up with it.
Okay.
Like, I didn't have to like shut the door, lock it, block her off, and be in the living room with her on the other side of it, or vice versa, whatever. I could just, and that was the end of it. So that probably had something to do with it. But it was kind of back and forth, off and on. A lot more time off than on, or even if we were technically together, not seeing each other. It was more, the phone, what's up? Oh, okay, yeah, all right, talk to you later. And it could be weeks. That literally went on and on. And there was periods where it could go 6 months of not being together and then back together. I was playing poker like full time at that point, so that was kind of my income. Don't anybody do it that way? It doesn't work. It wasn't until I want to say 2013. No, 2012. I started dealing for one of the XPT thing. I think like dissolved and went away. But there was this one bar on Wednesday nights and Sundays during the day that the guy ended up taking it over himself and asked me if I wanted to deal. One of the other dealers quit or something, so I started dealing. I think that's when it was, 12, 13, somewhere around there. remember when that started, but I started doing that, and that was at least, a couple $100 a week or so, because you would, get tips and stuff like that. 2014 is when the first time I remember it being a longer separation and actually going out with someone else for a couple of weeks, which ended up being that girl that I was talking about in the prior episodes from my freshman year in high school.
You went back to that.
Yes. It was not intentional as a relationship. It was like, hey, it's been 30 years, whatever it was, years. What are you up to? And, meeting up and just chit chatting. And it just went from there, unfortunately. And it lasted 2 weeks, because at that 2 week point, which we had only gone out 3 times, I think, the person made a tin of cookies and a card, and it said, "I can't wait to spend the rest of my life." And I was like, "Yeah, we're done." So that ended abruptly right then and there, because I was like, nope, not what I want, not what I'm looking for. And then it was just, I was hanging out with my youngest daughter a lot through those years. She was working for a shipping company at the time, I believe. She had a couple of jobs. She always worked since she was young. So we would hang out after work and stuff like that. Maybe go grab something to eat or cruise around the city or whatever. So then I have to fast forward to 2015, that spring. I don't really remember the rest of it. I'd been doing car shows, doing artwork and setting up a booth and selling, car related art, or, taking commissions on having, guys wanted their cars drawn so they could frame them and put them up, stuff like that. I'd been in some publications for my color pencil and graphite work. No, it was all color pencil, no graphite, sorry. So minute amount of, success, very little. But it was cool at the time. So we're going to do a show, and then I don't know how we ended up talking again. And I said, "Do you want to come to the show?" And the girls were already coming with me to help, because they would go out and give out cards and walk around and, just hang out. And my youngest one always liked coming with me and hanging out. And she came, and that was a disaster. So that literally was a one day and done. And then shortly thereafter started a internet or long distance thing, talking to somebody that was somehow through Facebook. To this day I don't remember how she was found me or anything. I don't know. I've never had that many friends on Facebook. So, and she was from Alabama or Arkansas, something like that. It could have been a group, some group that we were both in or something. I don't remember. So that started, and I was done with my ex-wife at that point. That was pretty much it.
How was your mental state then?
I had started working out in the gym, because I had always been very skinny. when I had gotten sick in '93, I was 6'2", 190. I had dropped down to 140 about 6 months after getting sick. Mid 2000, like 2005 or so, I think I got up to like 150, 155 ish. And then by 2015, I started just putting on weight. I guess either getting older or my, you know. So my youngest daughter started coming with me and would go to the gym at night. So I was doing that, and that, feeling a lot better, eating better, trying to make sure whatever weight that was starting to just come on didn't come on too fast in the wrong spots. And I was constantly talking to the person from Facebook, and we were, on video calls or whatever it was called at the time. It's probably Facebook Messenger video thing.
Yeah, probably.
I don't know. So I mean, I was like very upfront with like, this is how I am, like right off the bat. Like I didn't, oh, let's just ease into this. Like, no, you're gonna know exactly what if your intentions are to get to know somebody, you're gonna know all this right off the bat, so you can make a decision now whether you want to deal with that or not. Because I'm just not gonna, you know. And trust me, anybody that decided that, yeah, I don't want to deal with that, I don't blame you. Nice meeting you. So yeah, I wouldn't hold that against anybody. Because trust me, I can imagine dealing with it from the outside might be worse than me dealing with it. If it's impacting your life negatively or it's stopping you from doing stuff. So I get it. She was fine with it, so I mean everything was cool. I guess it was, it was new. It was something different. It was refreshing. It was, whatever cliche you want to throw at it. She ended up coming up in October, I want to say around Halloween. And we spent about a week together. Just going around I think she had been to New York, but I don't think she'd ever been to Philadelphia. So just went to a few of the things around the area, which I was able to actually, I was a little nervous about that when she was coming up, because I was like, talking on the phone is one thing, like in person, now, shit gets real. But it wasn't. I didn't really have too many issues. A couple things where it was just a little uncomfortable, and but she was cool about it. She came back the week of Christmas for about 2 weeks into like New Year's. That was fine. Like everything was still fairly cool. She went back home. I don't remember too much discussion as far as like future and stuff like that. I couldn't even tell you what. I don't even remember what she did for a living, or having trouble remembering her name, to be honest with you. But then, like out of the blue, on February, on Valentine's Day, he called and says that she needed to be broken up because she has like trust issues and the distance and all that. So that was the end of that. And I was like, took you this long? Like you didn't know that was going to be an issue with the distance? I mean, I made it real clear. I'm not going anywhere. So if you think I'm moving to Alabama or Arkansas or Oklahoma or wherever it was, not happening. So there was contact with my ex-wife as far as she had an issue and she needed me to pick something up and drop it off where she was living. So I had done that for her, and apparently she had thought that opened the door to, rekindling the sparring matches.
The sparring matches.
Yeah. But again, she was living at another location for 3 or 4 months. And I had no interest in starting that back up again. So I was like, all right. At the time, internet dating was all the rage. I don't know if that's still a thing or not.
I don't know. I've never done it, so.
Yeah. So shout out to Plenty of Fish. Signed up on there. I figured, yeah, it's kind of safe. You can find out things before, I don't have to sit, like, I don't go to bars. I don't go to clubs. I didn't, my group of friends were all married. It wasn't like anybody was fixing anybody up. And I don't think anybody would have been like, hey, you want to meet this guy? Like, that would have just been really bad for their relationship as friends. you know. So I probably should have known that to get off of there pretty quick, because it was like a few nut jobs, if I can use that term. I don't know what their point was of being on the site, if it wasn't to like eventually meet up or to date. Like, it's a dating site, so I assumed that's what the goal was, but apparently a lot of people it wasn't.
They just wanted to like communicate via email or text or.
Well, there was like a messaging thing, and then you would, if you wanted to give out your phone number, you could do that, and then. But yeah, it was interesting to say the least. Apparently, what I was interested in and what everybody else was not. And then eventually, there was one woman who contacted me, and we ended up meeting up and started a relationship. And I want to say April or May, somewhere around there.
Okay.
Now, the significance of this relationship was I had done stuff that I never thought I would end up or have a chance to do because of the panic disorder. And I don't know why at that time things as far as stomach issues, the nerves and that stuff were, I don't know if they dropped off or got easy for, I don't know what reason. She lived in a city not too far away. And I mean, we pretty much saw each other on a daily basis. And she lived near the stadiums for the professional sports teams. And she actually worked at one of them. So I guess, like, contacts of being able to get there. So it was like, I actually went to a couple of Phillies games, and I know people are going to be like, how the hell do you do that with a crowd? And, well, I didn't have to worry about parking because you could just walk out from her house and just walked like literally like 3 blocks, 3 city blocks. I mean, it's probably half mile, quarter mile, whatever it was. So even if something happened, all I do is walk back to my car and leave.
Right.
I wasn't. I saw that as I wasn't stuck, so I was able to, you know, do that, and even went with my oldest daughter with her, to that. We also went to a Flyers game. I think we went to like 3 Phillies games and 1 Flyers game. So it's just I think 3 or 4 events. Went to a couple of restaurants in the city. Summer. I mean, she was Italian, big family, a lot of friends, a lot of like work get-togethers and stuff like that. I didn't go to all of them, which we'll get to that, caused a problem later. She also would go down the shore. So I had made it down to Atlantic City one night. Didn't stay, but just went down for the night. We actually went to one of the comedy shows, had something to eat, and then I went home. She wasn't real thrilled with that, but oh well. Later on, I was able to stay over one night. But just the fact of it, I went my own, so like I wouldn't drive with anybody, and that changed later. But like I was driving myself, so if I did want to leave or had to leave, I wasn't dependent on somebody else.
Right.
So just I remember getting choked up a little that first time coming down and seeing the lights for Atlantic City. If anybody's ever been down to Atlantic City, New Jersey, you know what I'm talking about. Probably didn't get choked up, but for me it was a big deal because I hadn't been down to anywhere near there since 97, whatever. Almost 20 years probably. So I went down there a couple times, and then her parents had a house in Wildwood or something, one of the resorts or whatever they're called. And I went down there, I think, once, which was, again, for me, was a big deal. It was just, I didn't stay overnight. Was there for about half the day and then went home. And the relationship was fine up until I started experiencing some of the anxiety issues, I guess the agoraphobia, whatever it was that would make me uncomfortable around people, just kind of came back, I would say within about 4 months, pretty strong. And this was it's kind of like the end of August, not October, August, beginning of September. She started having more family functions that I couldn't attend, due to the time of the day, or, if there was a Philadelphia Eagles game going on, I wasn't going anywhere near her house or that area because there's 70,000 people there.
Right.
And traffic just comes to a standstill, and I already know that, so I'm not. So stuff was scheduled during those times or around it, and I'm like, yeah, I won't be there. So that started to cause problems. Not fights, but you know,
Attitudes.
yeah, you could tell. And then there was conversations, and then I started to. That's when, if it starts to become a headache or a job,
You check out.
yeah, like if shit's real or whatever, it should not feel like you're putting in 40 hours of work to not get into an argument.
True.
So then here comes September and October, and it's just now shit starting to become arguments. And she had already asked me to move in, after 4 months, where I was like, I don't even know you. Somebody that I knew for 20 years, I didn't even know. So 4 months, like, no. I know that's all the rage, I think, today is people like
Yeah, I
date for
guess.
about 2 weeks and then are living together. Like, no. And let alone, I don't want any part of it. No offense to anybody that lives in the city. I'm a county guy. I don't want to. I don't want to live in a city. I want to move further away, if anything.
We like grass and land.
Yeah, it's nice to park your car and see a patch of grass, not just sidewalk and cement. So yeah, not being at things and family functions, and then what what sealed it for me was a couple of things. The one was she started bringing up like Thanksgiving and Christmas, which at the time I didn't give a shit about. Like I had kind of been soured on. I'm not real big on most of the holidays. I'm not a big barbecue guy, or I like fireworks and you know up to that point. So I'm not Italian at all. So I don't know anything that goes on in an Italian family around Thanksgiving or Christmas. So I find out that I have to be over her parents' house at like 11 a.m. on Thanksgiving to start the holiday. And apparently they start eating at like 11, and then I don't know, take a nap or watch football and then start eating Thanksgiving dinner. There's like an Italian portion and then like the turkey and stuffing portion, maybe. You're half Italian, so
I
I'm looking at you for some semblance of.
I do both the Italian and the American,
Well,
but no.
but
So,
yours isn't an all day event.
and typically it's not. I mean, people usually start coming over around 2, but not 11. And Christmas is more. It's more Christmas Eve than anything.
Well, I don't know anything about Christmas because we never got there.
Yeah.
Well,
So
we didn't even get to Halloween, if I remember correctly. I think it was over. Yeah, it was over before Halloween. And I just flat out said that like there's no way I'm gonna make it that early, and I don't eat. Like I'm not a whenever I happen to wake up, like I don't eat for a couple hours. So for 11 o'clock, if I'm eating at 11 o'clock in the morning, that means I haven't gone to sleep yet.
right,
Anybody that knows me, like I'm usually asleep at that point.
right.
My jobs are always overnight. So I don't know how long, from 95 till now,
Right.
was always overnight. So she was like, well, what time are you going to get there? I'm like, 4 or 5, 6. Oh, no, then don't come at all.
Okay.
That's like my exact words. I went, okay. And then it went to the whole, what do you mean, okay? Well, wait a minute. You just told me not to. I'm agreeing with you. This isn't an argument. We both agree. I guess she thought I was going to go be like, oh, wait, I'll be there at 2. Like, no, I'll still be asleep. And again, this is where I get pissed off at people. It's like, you knew right from the beginning
Right.
my schedule and how things were. I'm not changing it for you. I'm not changing it for anybody. Like, if you're not cool with it, I get it. Swipe left or whatever that is and move along. Like, I put that stuff right in the profile. So you knew right from the beginning. And like, I'm not shy with people when it comes to that. It's like, this is what I'm dealing with. This is how it is, and this is how it's going to be. If that sounds cool, then we can go from there. If it does,
Right.
if it doesn't, well, nice meeting you, and good luck.
And rightfully so. I mean,
I know there's somebody, oh, well, take it slow. Well, no, I'm not going to take that part slow. I'm going to let somebody know exactly what they're getting into, because what is the point of wasting someone else's time
right,
and mine?
right.
So that pissed me off, because it was like, you knew, and just because I was able to do stuff back in the summer under these circumstances doesn't mean that's going to continue. And these are different circumstances, different, you know, that was at night. That was walking from your house, or, you know, whatever. You know,
Right.
most of that stuff was all at night. Very little of it was during the day, because I, you know, I was still dealing cards at night. Said I went till 2 a.m, and then, you know, by the time I went to sleep, it was 5, 6 o'clock.
Right.
So, you know, I was up by 2. But, you know, which it worked then, because she worked from, you know, 9 to 5, and then she worked some nights, so it didn't. But then when stuff changed in her situation,
She wanted to change with you.
now I have to adjust, and it's like,
Why would you have to adjust?
well, that's what she thought.
Well, okay.
And after that conversation, it was pretty much over. Well, not pretty much, it was over. And I was just like, I'm not even going to be there at all. So, you know what? I got out of this kind of relationship, and I've learned the thing that I, you know, when you asked me the last episode, like, and I said, you know, I'll figure it out later, is I did figure it out in 2015 and 16 that I didn't need that. And I, you know, at that point, I was like, I could just be alone instead of putting up with dumb shit. And that there were other options. Those didn't work. And, you know, I'm not going to, you know, for whatever reason, it's just whatever happened, and that's that. I don't know what they're doing today or anything else, because that was 10 years ago. But then this part of the story you're well aware of. I want to say a week or so later. I know it was on a Tuesday. I had a dream about you. Not that kind of dream. Because I'd only seen you once in 2007. You were working at the firehouse, or running with the firehouse, and you were working a poker tournament.
Yep, we were doing a fundraiser.
And I came with a mutual friend. I didn't know you were a volunteer firefighter at the time, or you were even going to be there. So I walked in and was like, And for context, yes, throughout my entire, from, you know, probably 89, 90, 91, you know, on, had, you know, was constantly thinking about what you were doing, where, you know, I probably should have, you know, made different choices, you know, all of that. So when I had the dream, I was like, that was weird. So I jumped on a computer and looked on Facebook to see. I was like, well, and this was exactly in my house. Like, if there's no dude in the profile pic, I'm messing her. And there wasn't. Now, I did go through some more photos, and I'm like, let me just make sure it's not a, I'm like, I'm going back. I don't see any. All right. So sent a message. Like, I think I said I had a dream, and I'm not like, hey, I had a dream. You know, I have a dream.
It started out with, hey, Donna, I'm not sure if you remember, it's Brian from, and I was like,
Yeah, like you wouldn't remember.
And
Like we had only hung around for like 5 years and then dated for a few months.
the crazy part is I didn't see the message right away.
Yeah, it was Thursday evening. You messaged me back and you were down at the park near my town and said, hey, it'd be great if you want to come catch up. I'm down at, such and such park. And I quickly, threw my clothes on, hopped in the car and came down. We've been together ever since. But yeah, it was going back to staying. It was that fear of rejection because I hadn't there was a lot of rejection with girls due to my dorkiness and probably the shyness and all that crap all through school. So I think I had only asked 2 girls out in my life, and my ex-wife wasn't even one of them. That was like an involuntary relationship. Like I didn't.
Was it involuntary? He was committed involuntarily.
Yeah, I was. Yeah, but so yeah, it was just that fear of again the unknown and what if and am I going to get looked at like a freak? And
I think what you have to take out of that though is it better to be in a toxic relationship or by yourself?
oh well, I learned later on it's better to be by yourself. Now there was only periods of months at a time that I was, but yeah,
You felt better.
yeah, it just wasn't like it wasn't coming home and like slamming the door and sitting upstairs talking to yourself, mumbling to yourself for 20 minutes like the fuck did I just do that for? Like, that was a waste of damn time. But yeah, a lot of it was worrying about rejection and being judged for being a nut job and the not being able to do this and not being able to do that because most of the stuff that I can't do or don't do is normal. Like most people, probably 90% of people would just go, what's the big deal? I don't know. Like there's 2 parts of me. There's the part of me that goes, man up. Like let's go have fun. And there's the other part of me going, yeah, I don't think so. Nice try, asshole. Like we ain't doing that.
I mean,
so, trust me, there's that little struggle that goes, yeah, I really want to do that. And the other part going, good luck. You ain't. So, and it's not voices in my head. It's just me going.
it's the angel and the devil sitting on the shoulders.
Literally, like getting dressed to go somewhere and then going, yeah, I'm going to go back upstairs. This ain't going to work, So there's a lot of that, just worrying about someone accepting me for me. And you want to say, unfortunately, fortunately, good or bad, this is what you get. Also, if you can't tell, I'm very heavily tattooed from my hands to up my shoulders and my neck, legs. So that was another thing where even then, maybe not so much now, but then people associated that with drug addicts, criminals, jailhouse stuff, troublemakers, which that website for the thing, a couple of them had even said that, I'm kind of into the bad boys. And I'm like, oh, well, you need to keep moving. They were like, oh, well, I'm like, I have tattoos. I don't do, I'm the most boring.
He's the most vanilla guy in the world.
Like, if you're looking for excitement, don't look this way. a night of excitement with me is we go out in a car and drive around for 3 hours and, talk and just drive somewhere we haven't been and, oh, look at that house, or what the hell was that,
Or binge watch shows, or
for the fifth time watching Sons of Anarchy.
yeah, I mean, I guess I get where you're coming from, where the fear just kept you there. I can say I'm the total opposite. I just, me. I'm not going to let somebody walk all over me, or I.
And we've been together for going on 10 years.
Yeah, it's
this, November will be 10 years that we've been together. But right from the beginning, I don't know if this is the wrong word. It just felt comfortable. It just felt natural. I didn't feel like I had to put on a show or. Now, I don't know if that's because of prior familiarity or just because you made it. Like, we both kind of, because at the time you were being worked up and, dealing with a form of cancer.
Mm-hmm.
Which, thank God, some oral chemo and that, and haven't had to deal with it since. So hopefully that's all done with.
And I think a lot of it had to do with the fact that we both knew what we were getting from the other person. And
I don't think there was any expectations.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I
wasn't expecting or like any specific, like, this is what I want. Like, it is what it is. And, I think we've had 3 arguments, maybe 1 significant fight in 10 years.
Yeah, probably.
All my fault.
That is true. 110%.
Yeah.
I also think that we're also friends besides just being in a relationship. So, yes, there's times when you are hard-headed, that you are stubborn. I can say the same about me. So we complement each other in certain areas.
Yeah, I mean, if we're going stubborn, you're going to win that one. You're definitely more stubborn than me. I may be stubborn to a point of inflicting undue stress or harm upon myself, where you're stubborn to the point of, never being wrong, even when you're shown the facts.
No.
You will still argue that you'll still argue that one to the death of, like, no, that's not green. Yes, it's green. No, it's not.
No, that is not true. I'll admit when I'm wrong.
Exhibit A right here.
I am stubborn. Like, don't tell me I can't do something.
That's different. That's okay. That's a totally different thing, because that's idiot men who tell you because you're a woman you can't do it, and for some reason you have to prove them wrong by going to, like, Delaware and going to fire school, climbing ladders, going into burning buildings and shit, for no other reason than to just prove some idiot who was running his mouth wrong. That's not stubborn. That's just,
it's hard-headedness. Like,
I'm just going to prove you wrong no matter how much damage it inflicts or how much danger it puts me in.
It didn't inflict any damage. I also think that we both put everything on the table when we first reunited.
I mean, yeah, I was 100% honest with everything that was going on. You did the same. And we both went, okay.
Or, oh shit, one or the other.
No, it was just like, it was kind of like, I mean, this isn't word for word, but it was kind of like, are you cool with that? Yeah. Are you? Yeah. Okay. It was kind of like that kind of situation where it was like, this is how fucked up I am. And are you good with it? Yeah. How about you? Yeah. Okay. And that was that.
I have to say, so it was November of 16. When did your appendix go?
October 17.
I was going to say, it wasn't even quite a year.
It was the week
Before Halloween.
before Halloween because I got out the day after Halloween, I think. Oh, and let me just say, anybody that watches this that has a negative opinion of Donna, you're fucking an idiot. I don't know what to tell you because this woman lived in the hospital room with me on a crappy ass chair that was like extended out a little bit because I needed to have emergency surgery. I was dealing cards, started having trouble breathing, actually just trouble exhaling. Didn't know what it was. She wanted to take me to get scanned just to make sure. I wanted to go home and go to sleep. Finally just got nagged into going to get the scan. I wasn't going to win that one. And here comes a team of like 5 people running into the room. You need emergency surgery. Your appendix is about to rupture.
His memory of that is so vague. So they scanned him. He's in the room, and before the results come back, he's starting to pace. He's like, I gotta go. I gotta go. Now, obviously, he thought I was born the night before.
If you're talking about me going to the bathroom to try and leave, that was after they told me, wasn't it?
No, it wasn't. She comes in and she said, you're like, I have to go. I want to go to the bathroom. Now, I'm very familiar with all the hospitals around here.
I thought that was after
No, it wasn't. Hold on.
I thought for sure that was after they told me I needed surgery.
No, it wasn't. He comes out and I'm standing right there. I say, go back in, wait for the results. When we go in.
Yes, I did have to go to the bathroom, but the exit to the hospital was right outside the bathroom, and I was just going to get in my car and go home.
So.
And then probably call her later and be like, hey, I'm home.
When she comes in and she's like, that's when she goes, you need emergency surgery, your appendix are about to rupture. That is when I snapped. Because at this point, he was already going into panic mode. And he's slightly taller than me. I do outweigh him, but he is slightly taller than me.
Slightly?
So,
I guess if you call 5 inches slightly.
I'm looking at him. I'm like, you have to stay. You need to get this taken care of. I mean, I even told him, like, this is what killed my grandfather. You're not going home. And I looked at the nurse. I was like, can we get him something? We get him something, he'll be fine. And, like, I had everything lined up. I had already called the surgeon. I asked who the surgeon was that was on call. They told me I'd called him because I had his phone number. Once they got him medicated, he was like, psh, and I had choice words with the ER doctor.
Yeah, because she just walked in and went, you need emergency surgery. And they had my chart, so.
They knew the panic disorder.
You probably knew that would, it might not set off everybody, but I didn't care about the surgery. It was the being in the hospital. The surgery itself I could care less about. It was the being stuck in the hospital because I didn't know, like, am I leaving tomorrow? Am I going to be here a month? I have no idea.
So when the surgeon comes in, I talk to him. I'm like, look, he's not going to be able to stay by himself. I was like, he has severe panic disorder. And the surgeon goes, what do you need from me? I was like, I need to stay with him. And he goes, okay. He's like, you'll come up to the prep room in the OR. And before we wake him up, you will see him in the recovery room. The whole idea was to keep him as even keeled as possible. He doesn't even remember seeing me in the recovery room.
After
Yeah, they brought me in when they started to wake you up.
that, I honestly remember them when you got me semi calmed down and they got the IV in and the Ativan.
That was still in the ER.
I remember that, and I remember sitting in some area like by myself, and a nurse would come by every now and then. You need a blanket or you whatever, and the next thing I remember is the crucifix position and count down from 100, and I think I hit 99. And the next thing, what I remember or what I thought was I woke up in the room.
So they woke you up in the recovery room for about 10
No, I thought I was in the actual hospital room. That's it. That's what I'm telling you. I remember. I don't remember waking up in the recovery room.
You wouldn't have. It was a very short period of time. It was just to check your vitals. Then we brought you down to the room and you slept for
From the time they put me out from surgery to I woke up, it was 17 hours.
Yeah.
That I remember, like, from you telling me on the time.
Yeah, it was.
Because they said just let him come out of it on his own. And they, I guess, monitored me or whatever. Because they were like, they didn't want to jerk me out of it and have me, like, lose my shit.
So,
But morphine and Ativan intravenously every 4 hours, I'm not going to say that didn't help a little.
yeah, I mean, it was.
But if you weren't there, I don't know what. I mean, most people are going to be like, we didn't have a choice to get through it. If she hadn't been there that night, I would have left. I've been like, yeah, I'm going to get a second opinion. I'll be back later, because I had no fever, no pain, no nothing. You even did the appendix test and it didn't do anything.
That's why I wanted you to get checked out, because it didn't, where your pain was didn't make sense. But
I didn't have any pain. It
you
was just
did earlier, like the day before that. You felt like you pulled something.
No, that was like the week before in my hip, and I had like a little twinge in my hip or something. But the one who knew, we had a dog, a German Shepherd, Sheba. She, the day or two before, started coming over to my side of the bed and sleeping right next to me, and she's the one that knew that something was wrong. And even when I came home, she slept on that side for about a week or so.
Yeah.
And then I guess she figured, you're good. You're good on your own. I can go back to mom's side.
It was crazy, too, because the appendix weren't where it was supposed to be. His appendix were tucked up on behind his liver.
That's what happened was it went up into my lung. And that's why I was having the problems exhaling, because it was putting the pressure, and it like pushed up into my the lower lobe of my right lung. And he had said that from the severe, because it ruptured during surgery, so they couldn't do the arthroscopics. They had to cut me open and flush everything out and go through all that crap with staples and everything. So that's why I was there for a week. I think I was there a few more days because I was just enjoying the morphine and the Ativan drip at that time.
But I mean, so I guess this is where I get into the part of saying, if you're with somebody who has any type of problems, you're supposed to be their rock. And
you do as much as you can.
Right. But my whole thing is when people go, well, I'm dealing with my own stuff.
Well, I mean, when you're in a relationship, you're going to have to deal with your own stuff and their stuff.
Yeah, it's give and take. I mean, between the two of us, we've gone. Medically, it's been like
Out of the past like 4 years, it's been crazy.
So, I guess.
I mean, you had a lot of your stuff to begin with, and then. And we both have blood disorders. Mine was diagnosed in 22, and yours was diagnosed at 29.
29.
When you were 29. I don't know if you want me to say what happened when you were 29.
I had a blood clot.
You had a stroke.
No, mine was diagnosed before the stroke.
Oh, okay.
So I had had surgery.
Oh, I thought you had the stroke, and then that's how they found it.
No,
There goes my memory.
I had knee surgery. I had, ironically, my 13th knee
Another one?
surgery.
Just had knee surgery a month ago.
I had a knee surgery, and I was 6 weeks post op. It was August. I was I DJ'd at the time, so I wasn't able to DJ, so I set my DJ up at the bar. Came home, decorated my whole house for my sister-in-law because she was pregnant with my nephew. We were in the baby shower for her. Side note, she did not show up. She ended up going into the hospital and having the kid. So
All that for nothing.
I went to therapy Monday, and I said, I think something's wrong. My therapist goes, why? I said, my legs bother me, and it's slightly swollen. And he did something with the bottom of my foot, and I was like, "Oh, that hurts a little."
Smart.
So he sent me upstairs to the doctor, and the doctor goes, I want you to get a Doppler. So I'm like, okay. So I drive myself to Stephen Park, and she literally, I'll use him as an example, put the wand right here, up, like right by my pelvic area, and she's like, do not move. Okay. I, at the time, was married as well. She comes back and goes, you need to go to the ER right away. You're completely clotted from your groin down to your calf. So I called my husband at the time, asked him to bring me to the hospital, and he's like, why? I'm like,
I need to go shopping.
I'm like, they're saying something about a clot. I don't know. I think they're all delusional. So that was, my son was born in 99, so that would have been 2000. I was diagnosed after I had my son, which I should have died during delivery. They don't know how I didn't have any problems. And after that, it was a roller coaster. The following, I had the stroke. I was already separated. No. Yes. No. Yes. No. Yeah. Sorry. I'm having a discussion with myself. Yeah, I was already separated when I had my stroke. So my stroke was like 2 years later. But his blood disorder is a little, I guess your treatment's a little bit more aggressive.
Yeah, mine's actually in the blood cancer family. It's considered a blood cancer without the chemo and radiation. But from all the symptoms I had, I know I've had it since like 2012 at least, or could have possibly had it longer than that or whatever. But
Probably most of your adult life, because it's not common in kids.
The reason it's not common is because they don't test for it.
No, they would see the platelet counts being off, and they're usually not.
Yeah, but everybody was seeing the hematocrit, which is the percentage of.
That's what I meant, the hematocrit, not the platelet count.
Yeah, the thickness of your blood. That was off since 2012, and nobody else except my current doctor. Shout out to Dr. K. She was the one.
She's one of the best.
She's the one that saw it and was like, I don't like that. And then looked back at the past stuff and was like, something's not right there, and sent me to a specialist where they did the full like genetic panel and found this what's called polycythemia vera and this JAK2 mutant gene. Now, which also goes back to my father had hemochromatosis, which is like too much iron in your blood,
right.
Which is almost the same thing, except that one doesn't turn into cancer or leukemia, basically. And mine only has like a 5 to 10% chance at this point in my life of actually like jumping over to leukemia. And I actually have the hemochromatosis carrier gene, but I don't have it, which
right.
It wouldn't matter because the treatment's the same. I have to go and get tested, every couple of months now. Before it was every month, and I would have to get a full bag of blood taken out every month. for a year straight, which then bottoms out your iron and makes you anemic. So it's one of those, the cure is worse than the illness. But now it's like every 6 months I have to go and have them take out a bunch of blood just to thin it down some. Not that big of a deal. I mean, it's
The side effects, I think, were worse in the beginning.
after that first year, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it was, falling asleep at work and stuff like that wasn't great, especially since I'm driving. I wasn't falling asleep while I was driving, but if I stopped for more than like 10 or 15 minutes, I would be out.
And like I said, so, you're dealt with the panic disorder, the anxiety, the depression, and then other things get piled on top of it. And it's like you tend to feel defeated easily.
Yeah, well, one of the problems with, panic disorder, they call it a mental illness. It's your mental health. The problem is it causes so many physical problems
Right.
because of not going to doctors. Like my dental health sucks. I need, from years of not going to the dentist because of the fear of going to any doctor. Whether it was, I have what they call it basal cell carcinoma. It's a very mild skin cancer. I know most people are like, yeah, it's been there for like 15 or 20 years on my leg. It's not bothering me. I'm not going to fuck with it. But that needs to get taken care of. But because of the panic disorder, it doesn't. So a lot of my issues.
Well, wait a second. Back up on that one. That is because if they could go in and the day you were there, if they could have been in and just removed it, you would have been fine. It's because what they have to do.
Right. It's the type of procedures that need to be done that cause me to have problems.
Right. And I think.
So it's like that's why that stuff just gets, and I push it off. I have appointments, and there's probably doctors that are so fed up with me from where it's like 20 minutes before the appointment, I have to call and reschedule because I can't do it.
There was one time he had a endoscopy scheduled.
I forgot about that one.
And
that was right before the lockdown and COVID.
Yeah, and we're on our way to the hospital. He's doing really good. We walk up to the floor. He starts. The nurse was like, well, I mean, I don't know what we're going to do. And I was like, let me just talk to him. And finally he was like, we got to go. I was like, all right. So we leave.
Well, that was, and I'll go a little more on that. That was one time where the nurse, I will give that nurse a lot of credit because she sat at the end of the bed and tried to talk to me and like, this is what we're going to do. We can get you on meds. Like
the one nurse did, yes.
Immediately, and was like rubbing my leg or my arm or something, and was like trying to calm me down so I could get it done. So a lot of credit to her because most of them just go,
That's how the other nurse just walked out.
like,
yeah.
It's like, you're just wasting our time.
So we leave. We get 3 blocks away, 4 blocks away, maybe.
No, we were
still in Springfield.
No, we were in Morton.
Oh, were we? I thought we were still in Springfield.
Right by the music store.
Okay. So he goes, what am I doing? He goes, can we turn back? I'm sorry. I'm like, why are you sorry? He's like, can we turn back? I was like, okay. So I called on the way driving back to tell me we're on our way back. We get there. They get him in a gown. He starts a little, but he's doing okay. The nurse looks at me and goes, I don't know what you said to him. I said nothing. I just be there. Like
that's literally what you said was nothing. Like it was dead silence on the way back, and it was just me in my head going, like, I got to get this done. And then finally, it was just like, can we go back?
if I would have said something to him at that time, it would have, for lack of a better word, fell on deaf ears. He wouldn't have heard it anyway. So the way you deal with it is just be there. And it, there's been other times where you can see you were starting and I would just, you good? And then,
Yeah, I mean, there's times where you've gotten me through it, and there's times where you've gotten me home, and you've known when to do which.
it's just,
And even if we were somewhere, I know the one museum we were at, and I was like,
Mother's Museum.
it started filling up, and I was like, I gotta, like, I don't feel good. We need to leave. This ain't working. Like, it was just crowding people, and I was just like, I'm like, I gotta go.
I think one of the good things with our relationship is I have certain GI issues as well. So if I'm having a bad day, I can be like, yeah, I don't feel like doing anything. Can we just chill? He's like, yeah. If he's having a bad day, I'll come over, but I'm not sure how long I'll be able to stay there because I'm not. Okay. We don't put pressure on each other.
And that's the thing. I mean, for me, try to word this correctly. Like the not being pressured or not feeling like I have to, I don't want to say do anything, but
I'm not going to get mad if he can't do something.
it's just a stress-free environment. The relationship is stress-free.
Yeah, I mean,
if I can't make it over for Thanksgiving dinner, she understands it's not going to be a fight. I'll save you some. You have some tomorrow. It hasn't happened.
no, I think you've made all the holidays.
I don't always eat.
Right, because of the timing, but
They eat normal time. I usually eat it like what I'll do is you'll clean up, we'll do all the dishes, and then like an hour later I'll go up and get a plate of, raviolis and meatballs or turkey and potatoes or whatever, and it just works. I mean, most couples this probably wouldn't work. Most people.
probably not.
One or the other would be like, no fucking way. Like this just.
But
Because you were very outgoing. You traveled.
up until I got sick, yeah.
Right? You went to concerts.
Well, even after I got sick, I was still going to.
Like you went to a concert the week after we started going out. You went to 6 a.m. and Shinedown and Five Finger Death Punch.
Yep. Me and a friend of mine met. Yep.
And I was like, have a good time, But and even now, if you want, or like, hey, I got a chance to go see Five Finger Death Punch, they're like, I'll take some pictures. Awesome. I'm not going, but
Yeah, it's like and I have done things where you weren't able to go and I still went, and
I mean, you went to Tennessee with your dad and your son.
yeah, for my son's graduation, we went to Tennessee. We have a place down the shore that I go to every now and then where my dad and my son are right now.
It just doesn't bother either of us if the other one's doing something without, like, we don't have to do everything as a couple.
Right.
It's nice to, but if it doesn't happen, it's not an issue.
Right.
It's just, okay. Like, I've gone to midnight mass, and there's times where I haven't.
Right.
There's times where I was getting dressed to go and went, I don't think I'm going to make it. And you go and come back, and we spend the rest of Christmas Eve together. And there's no attitude. There's no tension. I know I was able to just sit here while you were at mass, and then you came home and we did whatever,
I think he feels it a little bit more than I do. Like, if he misses something, he feels.
I feel bad about it.
And I'm like, but
I'll always be like that. It doesn't matter how. I mean, it's been almost 10 years, 20, 30. I would still feel that way.
Yeah, I'm like, I get
there's things that I know that are going to happen that I'm not going to be able to do or go to. One in particular in Washington, D.C.
Oh.
I'm not going to say I'm definitely not going, but I don't see that happening. Hopefully I can.
I get that. I mean,
But I also know that if I can't, I'm not going to, you're not going to hold it against
no.
me. There's not going to be any, you're going to go do your thing and then come home. And, you know, she, a year ago, 2 years ago, graduated with your master's degree. So she had her master's degree in education. And I couldn't go to the ceremony. They were having it in the city instead of where the, if it was where the college was, I could have went, but they had it in the city in this area that there is no easy way to get in or out. Very congested. And, you know, I still feel like crap to this day for not being able to go because that was such a big moment.
You can make it up to me. You can watch the virtual for my doctorate.
You won't be there.
It's virtual.
Yeah, but you're not going.
No. They'll still announce my name.
Okay.
I just think like there's been parties like you went to Justin's graduation party.
Is that the firehouse?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, we've been to things at, you know, my daughter's gender reveal and Christmas Eve we used to go.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's easier for me to do things now because I know that I don't have to do them.
Right.
It's if you can, great. If you can't, then don't, or we won't. You know.
Like I have a graduation coming up next week. That he will not be attending with me for two reasons. It's in the city.
In a packed inside.
Well, no, the one inside won't be packed. It's just his specialty. Citizens Bank Park is the one, but that's open, so I'm not really all that concerned about it. Once COVID hit, we kind of took a step back from a lot of stuff too.
Well, it was kind of weird because
Well,
we flipped because
yeah,
the weekend right before the lockdown where we were out like shopping, restaurants, up in people's faces talking like, I can't believe all these assholes out buying toilet paper. And I think your joke was, I said, what's all the toilet paper for? They were like, because every time somebody sneezes, everybody shits their pants. I was like, okay. You know, but we were out doing stuff right up until they locked it down. And we still were like, yeah, whatever. And literally that summer we were out at museums and, you know, you had to wear a mask, but they would check your head. But then 21 came and I don't know what happened with me, but I suddenly became like, I don't want anybody near me. And it wasn't even just getting COVID. It was like, I don't want to get sick at all. Like everybody get the hell away from me. I don't know what went from, yeah, I don't give a shit about the lockdown and this pandemic bullshit.
you got sick. You got the diagnosis.
Oh, yeah, I guess that would, yeah. That was the end of 21, beginning of 22.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was because 20, I literally, for me, the lockdown, my kind of person, I was like, this is great. There's no, like, I don't, like, you could go down the street and there's nobody there. The stores that you could go in, nobody was there. You know, the only thing you had to do was wear those stupid fucking masks. And at least we had somebody that was, my oldest daughter had somebody that was making them. So we had ones that were like,
we had Halloween ones.
4th of July, Halloween,
Christmas
Thanksgiving,
ones.
Christmas. It was like, well, if we're going to wear them, we might as well have a theme or something.
I think it was crazy. My concern was same as your concern. My concern was my dad. Your concern was your mom.
Right. Which both of them rightfully so, that especially since now what we know about COVID is they were the two that were at risk, not us.
The only reason they thought I would have been is because if you get COVID, it leads to clots. That was
it can.
Yeah, that was the one.
At the time, they've kind of found out it was more the vaccines than the illness, or again, don't listen to me.
Yeah, I don't. I know that. And I was told that if I had to be very careful, and I was like, yeah, okay, what? I just didn't want my dad to get it. I mean,
and my thing was, which caused problems with family members, was my mom and you, because I'm not putting either of you at risk. So, but that again, that wasn't 2020, and even most of 21. It wasn't until, because we weren't really. Everybody kept getting COVID around Christmas, so we weren't, like, literally 20, 21, and I think 22, somebody that we were going to be around ended up being sick, and they were all sick, so we were just like, yeah, we're not coming.
21, I believe, is when Andrew had it, because he didn't even come up for Christmas.
Yeah, he wasn't living here at the time.
We brought everything down, and talk about the strangest exchange. I pulled the vehicle up. My dad was with me. We took everything out, put it on the front steps. Him and Andrea waved. I got back in the car. I started to drive away, and then they brought the gifts in. That is how worried he was of giving it to me. He wouldn't even give me the gifts he had for me until later, because at that point they weren't sure if it was going to live on stuff. But yeah, and then.
Oh, we could probably talk more about that in the next episode.
Oh, yeah, I didn't realize we went over that far. The next episode, we're going to talk about, I guess, 2017 up.
Yeah, more paranoid and crap.
Yeah, I think we'll touch base on some of the not paranoia, but stuff like if something happens.
That's paranoia.
The snowball effect it has. All right, guys, we will see you again.